we're going to wrap up our overhead mobility series here, working on standing overhead mobility. So still working on the same concepts of moving in and out of that overhead position and then working on our scapular control in that position just while standing. So moving in and out of overhead shoulder elevation here, start with a wide grip on that PVC pipe, and I'll come narrower as my shoulders feel unrestricted and smooth, and so I might spend more time in any one position here just depending on how restricted I feel. Typically, for me at least, the narrower my grip, the more restricted this gets. But I'm focusing on that shoulder motion, trying to keep my core engaged as I do this and not arch my back too much, but really isolate that shoulder and scapular motion as best I can. And once I feel comfortable with that overhead position, I'll turn around here and show you working on that scapular control. So elevating up towards our ears, depressing down towards our hips. We'll work on pinching those shoulder blades back together and rolling them forwards, and then combining all four of those motions to create those scapular circles that we've now done in a couple different positions. And I'm using this light PVC pipe here today, but you could use a weighted dowel. I have one that's about 4 pounds that I like to use. As you get stronger, you could use a 10-pound or 15-pound bar or barbell. You could go all the way up to a barbell with weights if you get really good at this, if you want to. It's just based on what you can control. The final position we'll work on our overhead control is with the squat. So the overhead squat, being able to maintain and control that overhead shoulder position as we move into a squat. So I'll start with a very shallow squat, only a little bit of drop down, focusing on am I keeping that overhead position that I want to, and then coming back up. I usually hold for a few seconds here just to check in. Do I feel controlled? Do I feel balanced in terms of I'm not leaning or falling over? Am I maintaining that overhead position like I want to? And if everything's going well, I'll progressively drop lower and lower into the squat with repetitions, but at the same time, if I'm having a little bit of difficulty, if I'm struggling a little bit, I'm going to keep working on the position that's challenging for me and not continue to drop lower and lower. Again, this is focusing on shoulder mobility and control more so than the squat. We can work on the squat at other times. Now I'm working on that scapular control as we maintain that squat. We're working on moving in and out of that overhead position. So these are the same sorts of drills that we were doing in all of the other positions that we've done up to this point. It's just doing it in a squat. So this is going to tax our legs a little bit more. It's going to be a little more challenging overall, but that's why we kind of wrap up with this after we've mastered the other positions. Next, I'm going to elevate my heels on this plate, and this is a really great strategy to help if ankle mobility limits you at all with your squat position. So this makes it much easier for me to maintain that deep squat and really focus on my shoulders here without really having to worry about my ankles or my hip mobility, which are both a little bit suspect. Now, you would want to work on those. You would want to get to the point where you can do this comfortably with your feet flat on the floor, of course. But if the goal is to work on your shoulder motion and shoulder control, this is a great way to spend more time in that deep squat position and be able to really focus on what's happening overhead. Okay, y'all, that wraps up the series on overhead mobility. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you liked it and you got something out of it. And if you did, please like my video, share it with your friends, subscribe to my channel, and check back for more as I hope to keep adding content over time.